3 million pages of evidence, thousands of unsealed flight logs, millions of data points, names, themes, and timelines connected. You are listening to the Epstein Files, the world's first AI-native investigation into the case that traditional journalism simply could not handle.
Welcome back to the Epstein Files. I'm looking at an FBI 302 interview summary dated March 12, 2020. The subject is a Bureau of Prisons employee at the Metropolitan Correctional Center. And this is what the document says. An FBI agent removed the hard drive from the jail's camera system on the day Jeffrey Epstein died. Not retrieved, not secured as evidence. Removed. The employee states the FBI agent started removing the bad drives in order to rebuild the DVR. The agent advised that by replacing both hard drives, the system would be wiped, and that he had advised personnel at MCC of that. No video, no record, no accountability.
That is quite the opening statement. It's the forensic equivalent of a bomb going off in a quiet room.
It really is. So for this deep dive, we're going to act strictly as auditors.
Exactly. We're stepping away from the noise, the headlines, all the theories. We're just looking at two specific documents.
FBI 302s, file numbers EFTA 0126066 and EFTA 001266067.
That's right. And our mission, if you will, is just to reconstruct the chain of custody for that surveillance footage from August 10th, 2019.
But only using the government's own notes. No news reports, no unnamed sources, just this interview.
We're looking at the timeline, the mechanics of the system, which, as we're about to see, were failing long before that morning, and the specific actions of federal agents.
As recorded by a witness who was standing right there in the room.
Yeah.
So let's start with that source. Who is this person giving this statement to the FBI?
Okay, so the document introduces us to a Bureau of Prisons employee. His name is redacted, of course.
Right.
But his credentials are not. He started with the BOP back in 2003. He'd done 4 years in the Marine Corps. And, crucially, he has 10 years of experience in electronics.
So just to be very clear, this is not some random guard who happened to be walking by.
Oh, not at all. Far from it. This is a specialized technician. The document explicitly says that in 2016, this person was put in charge of all the cameras at the Metropolitan Correctional Center.
All of them. So he's a subject matter expert on the ground.
He's the one they call when the screen goes black.
Yes. Which makes his assessment of the tech pretty damning. What does he tell them about the state of the cameras before August 10th?
Stark is an understatement. He told the FBI the cameras at MCC were severely out of date. He says the recorders were frequently going bad.
And here's the detail that really sets the stage, right? The analog system.
Yes. He notes that the cameras were all analog, not digital.
In 2019, let's just pause on that,
Yep.
A high-security federal facility in Manhattan is running on a system that's over 20 years old.
I mean, think about what analog means in that context. In a modern digital system, you have redundancy, you have cloud backups.
Sure.
If you smash the camera, the footage is already safe on a network somewhere else. Here, in this analog system, the video is a physical feed going to a physical box.
So if that box fails.
The image just vanishes. It's a massive single point of failure.
And it was poorly maintained.
Right. The witness describes this one specific technical glitch. He calls it a ghost function.
A ghost function. What does that mean technically?
It's essentially that the screen in the control room where the guards are sitting would look active. You'd see the hallway, the cell front. You'd think it was working.
Okay.
But the video is not actually recording to the hard drive.
That's a security nightmare. So a guard could look up, see the monitor, assume everything's being archived, but it's just a live feed disappearing into the ether.
Precisely. It gives you a false sense of security. You think you have a record, but all you have is a window.
And this establishes that the system was already fragile. It wasn't sabotaged in a single moment.
It was rotting from the inside out. But then, what happens in late July and early August that moves us from fragile to catastrophic?
Okay, let's walk through that timeline. This is where the 302 gets incredibly specific.
It starts on July 29, 2019. The witness records a system failure of DVR2.
Failure number 1. Then we jump to August 8th, just 2 days before Epstein is found.
The motherboard fails on that same DVR, so now the hardware itself, the brain of the unit, is shot.
But the final blow comes on the morning of the incident, August 10th.
Yes. The document says a hard drive failure occurred that morning. The witness advised, and this is a quote, that only one hard drive of the camera system was working at the time of the incident.
I just want to make sure everyone understands that. One drive. And the document notes, when a DVR went bad, None of the cameras record it.
So we're operating on a razor's edge. If that one drive goes, there is no redundancy. There's no cloud backup. There is just that spinning disk.
And that spinning disk becomes the most important object in this entire investigation.
It does. But before we get to its removal, we have to place the witness at the scene. He wasn't just some IT guy reviewing logs later.
No, this part of the document was surprising. He was there. A body alarm sounds around 6:00 a.m., and he actually responds to the cell.
He states he was one of the personnel who briefly tried to resuscitate Jeffrey Epstein. So he has direct physical contact with the event. He's in the cell or right outside it. He sees everything.
And we have to remember the context here. At the same time, this tech is failing. We know from other records that the guards, Tova Noel and Michael Thomas, were allegedly sleeping.
Falsifying logs. Didn't check on Epstein for 8 hours.
Right. It's the perfect storm. You have a breakdown of human procedure overlapping perfectly with a total breakdown of the technical infrastructure.
The guards aren't looking, and the cameras. The cameras are maybe recording to a single failing hard drive.
So the medical incident happens, resuscitation fails,
Yeah.
and of course the first thing the warden wants is the tape.
And this brings us to the critical junction. The document says, after the incident, Redacted was asked about the cameras. The warden wanted the video.
A totally standard request. Show me what happened. But this is where our witness, the electronics expert, has to explain there's a huge problem.
A massive problem. He explains that they had 2 new hard drives ready to install to get the system back up and running.
But there's a catch.
Mhm.
And it's a technical catch that dictates everything that follows.
The catch is, as he told them, installing the new hard drives would mean that all prior data would be lost.
Okay, let's unpack that. Why would installing a new drive wipe the old data? To a layman, that sounds weird.
It's just how these old DVR systems work. To initialize a new drive and make the system live again, to get it recording what's happening now, you have to format the whole storage pool.
A reset.
A total reset. It's a catch-22. You can either preserve the broken system as evidence, or you can fix the system to monitor the jail. You can't do both.
Evidence preservation or operational continuity.
Exactly. And this is the moment where the decision-making process shifts. Because the warden wants the video, the tech says, if I fix it, we lose the data.
And then we turn to page 2 of the document. File ending in 60067. This is where the story shifts.
The witness is told to start working on this system. The instruction is to rebuild the DVR.
Rebuild. At a crime scene. I mean, an unattended death in federal custody is a crime scene until proven otherwise. Rule 1 is don't touch anything.
Right. Standard procedure would be unplug the unit, bag it, tag it, send it to a digital forensics lab at Quantico. They'd carefully clone it. That's SOP.
But that is not what happened.
No. The witness states he started removing the bad drives in order to rebuild the DVR. He's following orders, but he's not the only one touching the hardware.
This is the sentence that just stops you in your tracks. I'm reading directly from the 302. Redacted advised that an FBI agent was the one who pulled out the DVR.
An FBI agent, not the BOP technician, a federal agent from the FBI.
Why is that distinction so important?
Because of training. A BOP tech's job is maintenance. An FBI agent's job is investigation. Their roles are completely opposite in this moment.
Preservation versus repair.
Exactly. For an agent to physically interact with the hardware to pull out the DVR, that's crossing a lane.
And it gets even more specific. The document says the agent also advised that he knew that by replacing both hard drives, the system would be wiped, and that he had advised personnel at MCC of that.
Let's just analyze the state of mind that's being recorded here. The agent is explicitly acknowledging the consequences. He's not saying, oops, I didn't realize.
No, he's saying, I know this will wipe the system, and I am proceeding anyway.
And he advised MCC personnel of that. So everyone in that room is operating with the shared knowledge that the action they are taking is destructive to the evidence.
So the bad drives were removed, the system was rebuilt.
And the footage from that single working drive was not preserved in its original state. By rebuilding the DVR on site in the immediate aftermath, the chain of custody was broken before it could even begin.
So let's step back. What is the so what here? We have a cascade of failures, a witness who says, I told them it would wipe the data.
And an FBI agent who pulls the drive anyway.
Procedurally, this is what doesn't add up. Why was the priority to fix the camera system right then? It's a Saturday morning, the inmate is dead. The priority should be determining how he died.
That footage is the primary witness. Who cares if the cameras are working for the next 12 hours? Put a guard in a chair.
Right. Lock everyone down.
Yeah.
Why is rebuilding the DVR The priority over saving the recording.
That is the anomaly. The explanation you hear is incompetence, the frantic nature of the morning. We need eyes on the other inmates.
Sure.
But for an FBI agent trained in evidence preservation to actively participate in a process they know will wipe the system, that seems statistically improbable as a mere accident.
It feels like a choice was made, a procedural choice that guaranteed the loss of the most objective evidence possible.
And look at the witness's phrasing. He is very careful to document his own objection. He's putting it on the record for the investigators, covering himself. Absolutely. He knows how this looks. He's telling the interviewer, look, I'm the electronics guy, I know how this works, and I made damn sure they knew how it works before they touched it.
Which puts the responsibility squarely on the agent.
It does. It shifts the liability. If anyone asks, why is there no video? Well, this document seems to answer because an FBI agent authorized the rebuild.
The document doesn't say why that choice was made. We have to be clear. It doesn't allege a cover-up.
No. It just says the agent prioritized the rebuild over preservation with full knowledge of the cost.
And that cost is a vacuum where evidence should be. And in that vacuum, skepticism thrives.
If the hard drive had been seized, bagged, and sent to Quantico, even if the data was corrupted, we'd have a report. We tried to recover it. Here is the sector-by-sector analysis.
Instead, we have a 302 that says they pulled it out to rebuild the machine.
It's the difference between a failed autopsy and cremating the body before the autopsy even begins. One is a lack of results, the other is the destruction of the source material.
And the timeline is just so tight. The body alarm is at 6 a.m. The decision to do this happens that same morning.
It's entirely possible, legally speaking, that the system just died of old age at the worst possible moment. The entropy of that system was accelerating.
That's the incompetence theory. It's possible. But then you have the human intervention, the decision to wipe. That's not entropy. That is agency.
That is the distinction. The failure of the motherboard is bad luck. The pulling of the drive is a decision. And that decision is what this document preserves.
The video is gone, the machine's memory is gone, but the memory of this witness, the guy who was there, who did CPR, who warned them, is preserved right here in these 2 pages.
And that's why we analyze the documents. Because sometimes the paper trail is the only footage you're ever going to get.
The documents show an FBI agent removed the hard drive from the camera system at MCC on the day Jeffrey Epstein died. The agent advised that replacing both hard drives would wipe the system. No video from that night has ever been released. The documents don't tell us whether that was protocol, evidence preservation, or something else. What they do tell us is that the hard drive was removed and the footage is gone.
You have just heard an analysis of the official record. Every claim, name, and date mentioned in this episode is backed by primary source documents. You can view the original files for yourself at epsteinfiles.fm. If you value this data-first approach to journalism, please leave a 5-star review wherever you're listening right now. It helps keep this investigation visible. We'll see you in the next file.